Tonight we're driving the 2021 Volvo V90 Cross Country. This, I think, is one of the best alternatives to an SUV you can buy today. And just look at it. It's gorgeous. I do a bunch of Volvo reviews and I always gush over the looks and the aesthetic, but really, this V90 is something to behold. It is absolutely stunning. You've got lots of ground clearance, a pretty decent towing capacity of 3,500 pounds. It's got 316 horsepower from Volvo's 2-liter turbocharged and supercharged inline 4-cylinder. Yeah, it just looks the business. Look at this thing. Love this color. You've got tons of space in the back seat. Nice little window shades. Look at the finishing on these door panels. Bowers and Wilkins sound, which we'll test at the end of this video. These seats fold completely flat for all that wagon space. Very luxurious, very well made. I've only spent a short time in this V90 this week, but already it has really won me over. Nice quick tailgate. You've got a little privacy screen right here, and underneath a spare tire. Pretty difficult to lift up with this cargo rubber liner, but you get the idea. I mean, just about as much room in there as you could need. XC90 would be a little bit larger, but I don't know. Would you want to give up the cool factor of having this gorgeous, stunning wagon? I don't know. Better handling, better road manners. The ride quality on this is fantastic. It gets pretty decent fuel economy, 20 mpg in the city, 30 on the highway. If you've seen any Volvos in the last 5 or 6 years, this interior is getting to look pretty familiar. Not much has changed between models, just the size, the price, the features, some of the trimmings here and there. I think this infotainment has gotten mildly quicker to use and better to use over the years. All the ergonomics in here are pretty good. You live with it long enough. One of my favorite things is the cruise control and the pilot assist. It works incredibly well in this car. It's super easy to use. This is how all steering wheel buttons should be laid out. They're just minimal, functional, and very simple to use. I love it. I would like buttons and knobs for climate control, but the auto system in this works really well. A few different drive modes in this V90: Eco, Comfort, Individual, Dynamic, and Off-Road. Mostly just been driving it Comfort this week. You have your parking brake and your auto hold down there. A couple of cup holders right here. Wireless charging, a 120 watt 12 volt outlet, and of course in here, space for your phone and room to plug it in for Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. This touchscreen, I mean, not much has changed. You guys get the idea. This Bowers & Wilkins, I will say, is one of the best sound systems for any price. I think it comes very, very close to Acura's ELS system, and yeah, we'll test that out again at the end of this video. You can even fold their headrests via the screen. Massive panoramic sunroof. All good things in this Volvo V90. Let's go in and check under the hood. 316 horsepower, 295 pound-feet of torque. Purring away in there. I do like it when manufacturers use the same engine across their entire lineup. I think it results in a more reliable powertrain, and you know, sometimes this is all you need. Yes, it's a turbo supercharged 4-cylinder in a space where there are a lot of V6s and some V8s, but it works. It's a good powertrain. It's not a great powertrain. Got a pretty good reverse camera, kind of a wonky level of distortion, but you also get 360 view, which works very well. One of the nicer 360 views in the industry. I like this shifter. It's just a regular old shifter, nothing fancy or weird about it. It works great. No paddle shifters in this V90 this week. Super light steering at low speeds. For how big and long and wide this V90 is, it's actually a real pleasure to drive and to place. Super easy to navigate in tight environments in the city, and very, very comfortable once you get it on the open road. I like the concept and the idea behind the cross country because you just get that extra amount of off-road capability, ground clearance. For us here in Michigan, where you get a lot of snow, it makes a lot of sense. And the fact that you can have just as much ground clearance as an SUV with a little bit of towing capability make this kind of a no-brainer for me versus an XC90 or something like that, for example. Being able to get 30 miles to the gallon on the highway with something as capable as this is pretty cool. Super comfortable over this bumpy road. Let's throw it into dynamic, high performance mode and see how it handles some of these corners. This is a very impressive chassis. Handling is awesome. Virtually no body roll, very taut, very predictable. That 8-speed shifting very fast between gears and dynamic. You'd be hard pressed to find an SUV that corners as flat and nicely as this V90. Super comfortable cruiser. These seats are fantastic. Volvo always gives their cars excellent seats. These are no exception. Not a lot of wind noise at speed, very quiet. Impact noise is pretty subdued too. This being a wagon, it is a little bit louder. You get some creaks and rattles from the rear hatch area, more so than you would with the S90. This transmission is pretty good too. There is just a little bit of a pause between shifts, and I would like it to be smoothed out just a tad, but it's responsive, it's good at holding gears, it seems to do a pretty nice job. And gosh, you guys, I can't wait till Volvo electrifies more of their lineup. This is going to be just a fantastic luxury option with an electric powertrain someday. This car isn't super fast with 316 horsepower, so it does have a lot of weight to push around, but I think the power here is adequate. Again, the powertrain, this transmission does a nice job utilizing and getting the most out of this engine. It's not terribly efficient. We've been averaging low to mid 20s all week. But I think one of the biggest reasons to go for a car like this is just pure cool factor. This thing is so awesome to live with, to experience on a daily basis, to look at, to get in and drive. You just feel cooler living with it and owning it. And I think there's something to be said about that. So while we're out filming during sunset tonight, wanted to give you guys a few minutes of night driving footage, show you what the headlights look like. They are fantastic. They illuminate everything. Thor's hammer doing its job. And also just talk about the ergonomics in this car. For having a pretty prominent touchscreen, I will say after living with these Volvos a lot, I mean every press car we get from Volvo is the same. They don't change the interiors between vehicles and models. You just kind of pick your price, pick your size and flavor, and the rest of the Volvo is pretty much identical. They drive very similarly, just subtle differences. But the ergonomics in all of these Volvos, this V90 included, are fantastic. They're just such easy cars to use. The infotainment is a little bit finicky sometimes, and as you saw in the beginning of this video, sometimes it takes a little bit to get going and get started up, but once you have all your settings figured out, your preferences are kind of done to your liking, you don't really have a whole lot to change around in this car, at least on the fly in the touchscreen. It doesn't sound bad for a 4-cylinder. It just, I don't think, sounds great for a $60,000 luxury car. But that's okay. Oh yes, handling is actually quite impressive with this car. I do like this 8-speed automatic. So getting onto the highway here, let's play with pilot assist. This is just one of my favorite features of modern Volvos. It works incredibly well. The steering is on point on the highway. This isn't necessarily a system I would use very often on back roads or on just slower side streets, but for highway use, it's phenomenal. You can skip 5-mile-an-hour increments very easily. You can change your following distance with just the press of these two buttons up and down on the left of the steering wheel. It's all very adjustable, very user-friendly. You change lanes and the system, the pilot assist, the steering assist disables for a second. It's quick to pass other slower vehicles. It doesn't slam on the brakes when a car cuts you off. It's just a nice, really well-tuned system. And I feel like Volvo has made some improvements to this over the years since they've released it. It's gotten nicer, it's gotten better over time, which I appreciate. I just love how easily you can control things. And if you set your speed to a pretty low limit, the car will actually brake for you, which is awesome. It gives you a good amount of time with steering assist enabled, but if you just leave your hand resting on the steering wheel, it won't bug you, it won't prompt you too much to put your hands back on the wheel. It pretty much does all the work for you. You still have to stay vigilant and alert, but I love how easy of a system this is to use. It's just been fantastic living with it all week. Definitely one of the better systems on the market, up there with Hyundai. I kind of like it better than Tesla's. And yeah, Volvo's done a really, really nice job with the lane keep and the steering assist and the radar cruise in this V90. Personally, I'd probably swing for the cross-country V90 over just the standard one. Yeah, you'd probably get slightly better handling in the standard V90, but I don't know, I think having the versatility and the more rugged looks of this cross-country is just a little bit more appealing to me personally. All right, guys, so those are some thoughts on the 2021 Volvo V90 Cross Country. This thing is cool. It's fun to drive. It's really luxurious. It's very comfortable. We're going to test the Bowers & Wilkins sound system here in a minute, which I think is one of the highlights of this car. So if you're interested in hearing what that sounds like, stay tuned for the rest of this video. But if not, thanks for watching. We will see you guys in the next one. Oh yes, it is a big long car, but oh man, just one of the coolest wagons I think that's ever been made. Walk you guys around this one more time. Love this color too. Look at all the taillights. Turn on and turn off. That is amazing. Look at that. Oh, it's the little things. They just add right up. Another thing I like about this, you can lock and unlock the car from any of the 4 doors. Very useful in practice. All right, let's hop in, wait for this infotainment to start up. Sometimes it takes a minute. And we'll listen to our sound system test. Yeah, it's taking its sweet time. All right, there we go. In real time here today. Play around with the different sound stages here. That was studio, this is individual. Concert hall. Jazz club. Probably not the most appropriate for this song, but that's okay. Go back to studio. This Bowers & Wilkins just has so much power to it. It really pumps. Alright guys, that'll give you an idea of what that all sounds like. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.